What is going on, everybody? In this one, we're going to be going over a preview for the national title game between the Miami Hurricanes and the Indiana Hoosiers. And this is a game that I am very excited about because I think it's probably the most interesting and unique game that we've seen in a very long time. These are two teams that just a couple of years ago you would never have guessed would be here. You're always going to get the Ohio States and the Alabamas and the Georgias, but Miami and Indiana is super interesting, man. It's that the resurrection of the Miami program from the once elite status it held, all those years of mediocrity, and now they're back to the big dance. It's a really cool story. What Mario Cristobal has done there is fantastic. He deserves a lot of flowers, and obviously, with Indiana, what Indiana's doing right now is almost what you'd see in dynasty mode of a video game, where you take a terrible FBS program and you try to win a title in 5 years, and Kurt Signetti has done it possibly in his second year, which is just absolutely unheard of. He is already a Hall of Famer. He If he wins this game, he's the best coach in the entire nation. He might already be, but I want to give a little bit of respect to Kirby Smart for what he's built in Georgia. So, but this game's going to be an absolute blast to watch. And so I want to go over kind of some of the analytics, who has an edge where, and as well as a score prediction at the end. And but before we get into it, if you're new here or if you like the content, consider subscribing. It's free, and I would greatly appreciate it. But with that said, let's go into just a basic statistical comparison of their offenses. For Indiana, it's 461 total yards a game, which is top 15 in the FBS. They are averaging 42.6 points per game, which is elite. It's towards the top of the FBS. And it's a strong dual threat offense, right? Not any one specific player, but as an offense, they're very dual threat. 219 rush and 243 pass yards per game, respectively. They're incredibly balanced. The play calling has been superb. They're Every time I watch Indiana play, I just say out loud, like, this team is so exceptionally coached. It's insane. It's not even funny. Just what they're doing with a team of 3 and some 4 stars is fantastic. You compare that to Miami on offense, 408. So better passing slightly with 255 yards a game, but rushing only 154 yards a game as a team. That is not great, in my opinion. I know that Mark Fletcher has been pretty damn good in these playoffs so far, and deserves credit. But if we're looking at the season in its totality, 154 yards as a team is not spectacular, and I think that that's an area where Indiana can definitely make a big impact on defense. Scoring, they average 31.6 points per game, which is good, but all in all, the offense is just simply less explosive than Indiana's, if you look at it. So an offensive efficiency edge, you have to go with Indiana, right? They've done it. They've been more balanced and they've been more explosive against high level teams on a more consistent basis. The defensive side of the equation is where we could possibly have a different story, though. Indiana, you're gonna see, you can't always go off of stats on paper. Stats don't tell a full story, right? They tell some of the story, but watching tape, watching film, just seeing the eye test alone sometimes can really either vindicate your opinion of something or completely change your mind. But let's look at Indiana's defense. They're top 5 nationally in pretty much every category. 261 total yards allowed per game, which is top 5. They have an elite run defense. They only allow about 75 yards a game, which is very, very good. And only 11.1 points per game allowed. So you're seeing them do it too against teams like Ohio State and Oregon twice. So you can't say that they've gotten lucky with matchups because they've been doing it all season. That defense is fantastic. They are always ready. They're flying to the ball. We get to Miami's defense. They're allowing 293 yards per game allowed. They're strong against the run. They only allow 86 yards a game and 14 points allowed. So defensively, analytically speaking, they're almost identical. Indiana's better, but only very, very minimally. So minimally that you could say it's statistically irrelevant, to be honest. So Miami's basically giving up an extra field goal, which I mean, it's not nothing, obviously, but it's not something to write home about and say, oh my God, well, Indiana's just that much better. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I watched Miami go up against a very fun and elite, high flying Ole Miss offense and win. I saw them go up against an Ohio State team that has the best wide receivers in the country and shut them down and shut down Bo Jackson. So defensive efficiency edge on paper obviously goes to Indiana. You could say that they're slightly more consistent and slightly more elite. I think the athletes on Miami's team are better on defense. I think that the structure of their front seven is possibly better. It's just something to look at in the game because the interior defensive line of Miami, I still think, is better than the interior of Indiana's. And neither team is going to run the ball great, in my opinion. I don't see Hemby running for over 100. I don't see Mark Fletcher for running over 100. But between the two, I'll say this. Between the two offenses, I think it is more realistic that Miami will actually run for over 100 yards in this game. Not just with Mark Fletcher, but with, Carson Beck's kind of like annoying scrambling. He's somehow able to run around like a chicken with his head cut off from time to time and scramble out 8 yards, 10 yards, whatever it is. But also, you got guys like Malachi Toney who are just an absolute freak athlete. You can run them on jets. You can run them in Wildcat if you want. You can do whatever you want with them. The system to which Miami chooses to run the ball, I think, matters. I think they probably run for more as a team, if I were to guess. But I'm not gonna pound the table with that opinion because Indiana's proven me wrong on multiple occasions this year. So, yes, it is what it is. Turnovers and overall discipline, I think, are a good category to look at with these teams. Indiana leads the nation in turnover margin with a plus 21, which is very, very good. They're extremely disciplined. They don't commit a ton of penalties. Miami is a good turnover margin as well. They're plus 11 on the season, but less. I guess you could call it distinction in penalty avoidance. Miami's definitely a more penalized team than Indiana. Not shocking. It's like you think of Miami, you think of the U, and you just think of trash talk. You think of pushing and shoving. You just think of penalties. Not to say they're not a disciplined team. They wouldn't be here if they weren't a disciplined team. But I do think it's worth noting Indiana to me is a more disciplined team though, from top to bottom. They're more prone to taking the ball away. And I think Miami on offense is more prone to giving the ball away also. So you got to take that into account. And what's really cool is that Indiana and Miami, respectively, rank 5th and 6th in the FBS each in time of possession. So controlling the clock and protecting the ball on a regular basis is kind of the bread and butter of both of these offenses. So I am expecting their offenses to be at least respectable against the opposing defenses. Why does Indiana have the edge? I mean, overall balance and efficiency. They have a better scoring average and they're more consistent on explosive plays, I think. If I'm thinking about the explosive plays off the top of my head, I think my brain kind of naturally gravitates to Miami just because of guys like Malachi Toney, the plays that they make, Mark Fletcher. But the analytics don't lie, though. The stats don't lie. Like I said, they don't tell a full story, but they don't lie. Indiana's way more consistent on explosive plays. They have a super high red zone scoring efficiency and the elite turnover advantage with a plus 21. So they rank slightly better overall, especially against the run, which is crucial against Miami's ground game, because Miami's ground game, although it's not on paper the most explosive in the nation, it's been better in the postseason. They've only gotten better every week. So I think that's worth mentioning. Miami, and also Indiana just has momentum and confidence. Curt Cignetti has built a culture there that has truly convinced these guys, like, hey, nobody's beating us. We are the best. We're going to prove it by kicking your ass, just like we did against Alabama, just like we did against Ohio State, just like we did against Oregon. They are special. That's just clearly what it is. And so why would Miami have an edge? Well, one, it's home field, right? Home field advantage to me, and especially in this game, I think it's. I mean, would I say it's a 7-point swing? No, maybe a field goal or two though, possibly. I saw a post earlier about the massive inflation of prices for tickets to this game, and I think it's by design, because I think that Miami fans saw how well Indiana traveled against Oregon and said, no way is our home stadium going to be all red like it was in that game. So I think that Miami fans are going to come out better than what they're known to. A lot of people have said online that Miami fans don't travel that great, or they don't even sell out their own home games that often, despite being a good team. But I think they're going to show up this time. The home field advantage matters a little bit. So you combine that with the defense and physical play. Miami's run defense and scoring defenses are excellent. So they can slow Indiana down if they're disciplined enough, especially on the interior. And honestly, everybody and their mother is picking Indiana to win this game. And I'm not saying that is an incorrect take, right? I mean, I'm picking Indiana to win also, but this team has proven me wrong every single week. I picked against them against A&M. I picked against them against Ohio State. And I picked against them against Ole Miss, right? So, I mean, dare I pick against them again? I mean, they have the underdog mentality. I feel like Miami thrives when you pick against them. And that to me is also a testament to Mario Cristobal's culture that he's built there as well. He's really built, a mindset within that locker room to go out there, embrace being picked against, embrace being an underdog, use it to your advantage. So you combine that with their hard-hitting, high-flying defense, their playmakers on offense, the fact they're playing at home. There's definitely a realistic route for Miami to win this game. Nobody should be shocked if Miami wins this game. Surprised? Okay, maybe a little. But shocked? No. No, this Miami team is very talented. Lastly is the matchup X factors, right? So for Indiana, and some of these are very cliche, but cliches in football are cliche for a reason. It's just the simple things are typically what help you win or make you lose a football game. Sustained ball control and avoid turnovers, that kind of goes for both of them, and an effective run-pass balance in order to keep Miami's defense guessing. You're not going to just run it effectively against Miami or just pass it effectively against Miami for an entire game. You have to be balanced. You have to be unique a little bit in order to throw them off. You saw against Ole Miss, I mean, the times that Ole Miss did score on them were the times when they kind of dived deep into their playbook, did some unique stuff, gave some interesting looks, and it just kind of caught them off guard. Indiana's going to have to do that on offense because this Miami defense is going to come to play. And for Miami, it's limit penalties and mistakes. You cannot allow if you're going to lose this game, if you're Miami, if you're going to lose it, then lose it because Indiana was just better. Don't lose it because you shot yourself in the foot. Self-inflicted wounds kill. You got to limit the penalties, right? You can't just give them better field position. You got to be disciplined. And you got to take control of the line of scrimmage. That's the primary path of victory for Miami, is to control the line of scrimmage and keep the game close. Low tempo, a physical battle in the trenches benefits them greatly. So, kind of a summary takeaway, if you will. Indiana's strengths, their balanced offense, they have an elite defense, their turnover differential is phenomenal, and they just have that championship momentum, right? Everybody's picking them, rightfully so. And, it almost feels like they're a team of destiny. And it's so crazy to say it out loud that the Indiana Hoosiers football team might have a top 5 college team ever. They just might. I mean, I think in the hypothetical world, like, I still look at the 2019 LSU Tigers with Burrow and Chase and all them. I'm just like, that team was so unstoppable. And hypothetically, if that 2019 LSU team played this year's Indiana team, I would definitely pick LSU. Don't get me wrong. But I think it'd be kind of a fun game because Indiana's so balanced everywhere and their defense is so good that you might give a team like that 2019 LSU team some fits. But Miami's strengths, it's home field advantage. We've never seen it before in college football. They got a tough defense and gritty playoff experience. So there's a clear path for both teams. I think it's a very unique matchup between the two types of programs that we're not used to seeing in this stage. And so I'm going to go with Indiana to win this game 27-23. I think it's going to be a classic. I think we're going to be talking about it for a long time, and I couldn't be more excited. So with that said, I'm going to end it here. Again, if you're new, if you like the content, consider subscribing, maybe like and share, and I will see you guys in the next one.